Welcome to another edition of the It's Wrestling Report. I'm Seven Partner Quad. I'm your host J-Man. In this edition of IWR, we're going to do an IWR Topix show. First topic starting out will be Randy Orton. Interesting things going on with Randy Orton so far. Being supposedly injured. Not supposedly, but I guess he is injured. At a house show. And then having him written off TV on SmackDown. Wade Barrett throwing him down the stairs. There's been a lot of interesting things happening as of late, about last week or so, saying that supposedly Randy Orton's injury may not be as serious as has come to be. He said it could be supposedly for 6 months that he'd be out for, missing Royal Rumble, missing WrestleMania, could be out till at least like June or July. But as of late, they're saying that possibly he could make a surprise return in the Royal Rumble, obviously being in his hometown of St. Louis, our hometown of St. Louis. We'll be attending the Royal Rumble. We've said it a million times. We're going to keep saying it. It'll be interesting to see if this does end up going down. They've done these things with the kind of guys that have been injured, but not to the point that they usually say he's injured. This guy's going to be out for 12 months and ends up coming back in 8 months. I know they did it with John Cena back in 2008 when everybody thought he was going to miss WrestleMania in 2008 and ended up being in the Royal Rumble and winning the Royal Rumble there. So it'll be interesting to see if it ends up going down. Obviously, I'd love to see Randy Orton back. I'd love to see him healthy for sure to be the first thing. I don't want to see him come in and have some sort of injury and re-injure it or get more seriously injured, something that could actually risk his career in the long run. But I'd like to see him, if he does end up if he ends up as injured as they say, I'd just get healthy and come back in the 6 months, whatever it is. But if this ends up going down, it looks like it could be possibly happening. As I wasn't thinking it was probably going to be something likely to happen, but it's kind of looking more likely. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Randy Orton in the future.
Royal Rumble coming to your hometown is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yeah.
Just the way how they say it to be a 12-month injury, they probably just say that just for worst-case scenario if they do have a fallback on rehab, or if something if it's with your back is very important to your body. So that's what's wrong with Randy. And if, say, he injures his back at the Rumble, then he'll be out for 2 years. That is kind of pushing it too soon. But if he's actually healthy and if he can function properly and wrestle and do all his moves and take some falls and stuff, who knows? He could come back and win it in his hometown, which would be crazy. So hopefully Randy's healthy. We'll see what happens in the long run. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. They've done a lot of things in the past where they've had guys that are injured, but they could kind of work through it and get to a point to where they could take a little more time off and get a procedure done, get this or that done. But obviously they want to have Randy Orton, that huge superstar that he is, at that WrestleMania kind of run. They'd love to have him there, but obviously if it's too injured, whatever this or that, I'd love to see, if he comes back and does win a Royal Rumble, possibly seeing a Daniel Bryan Randy Orton matchup would be great. I'd love to absolutely see that match. It'd be some great stuff to see going in the future. But it's really interesting to see what happens with Randy Orton going in the future. I did want to say a little extra note here before we move on to the next topic. I forgot to say it in the award show. Big props to Randy Orton this year. In 2011, I know Wrestler of the Year, CM Punk, he got a lot of hubbub, but Randy Orton, really under the radar, in my opinion, had a really, really solid year. One of his best, years in his career, in my opinion. With the obvious great feud that he had with Christian, kind of went under the radar with stuff that happened with CM Punk and John Cena. But those two guys really just consistently were great and had some really great stuff. So obviously, I'd love to see both Christian and Randy Orton off these injuries come back soon and have that consistent greatness back. I think Randy Orton, that's how he like not stealing catchphrase from Christian. That's how he rolls.
That's right.
He's one of the good wrestlers that can just fly underneath the radar. Doesn't need all the hype and all that. He can still perform to 5-star matches.
Exactly.
He's not a John Cena, Fruity Pebble, or a CM Punk. Here I am. Randy Orton can just go underneath the radar, not say much, and still perform great matches and take breath away from a lot of fans. So
be great to see Randy Orton back in the ring in WWE. Next topic up will be Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan winning the world title back at TLC with the cash-in on the Big Show. Crazy stuff going on. Obviously, we love to see that. Daniel Bryan, we're huge fans of all the IWR guys. Great to see him as world champion, but some really interesting things going on as of late. We've had 2 weeks now on SmackDowns and on a Raw where Daniel Bryan's looking really, really heelish and coming off as a kind of interesting heel that could be coming into the future and really fully turning. But on the first 2 SmackDowns ago, having the stuff obviously they've been doing with the Big Show and stuff like that, and having the promo where he's almost where he just puts his hand, just get your damn hands off me. Just hilarious. And just the stuff that he's doing, getting the cheap win or whatever and kind of getting himself out of it to still remain the world champion. But the way they're really treating this is, to me, really brilliant. And what is really going on in here is kind of people are overlooking what's really happening. That I think is awesome what they're doing right here is they're really making Daniel Bryan himself and really the people that know about it, like us, that know Daniel Bryan and what he's all about, making him himself come off and feel like an absolute fucking badass. And that's how they need to do this. They don't need to have him feel like that kind of douchey, get around and scrape around and be that kind of cowardly heel, all this kind of stuff. Have him treat himself like he's an absolute monster is something like they need to do, instead of having him look upon as, the outside, conception of how he is, how mainstream people look at a Daniel Bryan as, this 6 foot tall, 170 pound, whatever, just vanilla midget, like they always like to say, which is absolutely not what he is. He's the amazing performer, as we all know. But the way they're bringing this off is really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this goes on in the future. Obviously, they're kind of running it. They're going to have this long, drawn-out thing they're doing with him. But it'd be really interesting to see how this pans out, seeing Daniel Bryan possibly heel.
Whenever I saw Daniel Bryan with the beard, I knew it was heel time. Yeah. He's come in after he won the title. You just catch different things he does. He's not much for the fans. He gets a lot of heat. And then he got a girlfriend, and then the whole AJ thing, and then how AJ got ran over on SmackDown. It was really weird how that ended. But then I guess a lot of fans are gonna be like, oh, he asked AJ how much he in backstage. This crazy stuff. I guess it's just heel tactics is what it's coming out to be. And then how he got DQ'd last week, and it's just, I'm just waiting for one time for him just to go flip apeshit on somebody, and that'll be the heel Daniel Bryan that we all love. So.
Yeah, and with people that have give Daniel Bryan flack for whatever he's not, doesn't show the character, doesn't show this or that, doesn't have the charisma to really carry a mainstream type of thing or be a world champion in WWE. If you look at the little things that Daniel Bryan has done lately, you could just tell in his eyes that he knows what he's doing, and he knows exactly how to pull this heel thing off. A lot like what CM Punk did, and a lot like the same lines of what happened with the CM Punk. When CM Punk came into WWE, what was he doing? He was playing this kind of douchey, fun kind of, well, not douchey, but kind of just the I'm the good guy kind of thing, and I'm going to make it apparently obvious that I'm the nice guy and want to just make you don't do drugs, guys, and do this and do that and kind of thing like that. But, they have Daniel Bryan come in and kind of play that same thing, just the goody two-shoes kind of, hey, I'm the nice guy thing. And like I've always said, I just think when you're heel, you get the full capabilities of bringing that character to life and having something to where you could shine through and not be that just stale, kind of drawn-out, just stupid kind of face character. You get the full color and vibrance of what can be a character in wrestling, and you get that. And I think we're going to get that with Daniel Bryan in the near future. Should be some very interesting stuff to see with Daniel Bryan going in the future as world champion. Final topic up will be the return and the actions lately of Y2J, Chris Jericho. Seeing Chris Jericho's return a couple weeks ago on Raw, absolutely amazing. Kind of came off predictable to me with the whole It Begins promos and all this kind of stuff. A lot of people talking about who could possibly be Undertaker, Chris Jericho. Tons of names being thrown out with all these videos being shown. And having it be Chris Jericho and having him come out very, very awkward and very, very, in my opinion, douchey the way he came out. And it's just so Chris Jericho. It's what he's going to do. He's going to come out there and play these fans like they're just a fiddle. And it's going to just come off to be brilliant, in my opinion. I think that when I look back on that return and how he came out, I'm like, what the hell is this? This is not what I wanted to see at all. I want to see something really badass. I want to see something, interesting with the promos that they showed, and he comes out to just being a super pandering, just kind of over-face-ish kind of guy. And when you notice that return, it's just once you got to the end of it, and you see it also, last week's Raw did the exact same thing, over-pandering and just kind of playing the crowd and all this kind of stuff. And once he got up to the top of the entrance to leave again, he was getting booed. He came out and just got cheered out of his mind with the return, and he came out and he left getting booed. Same thing at the end of the Raw. Chris Jericho is so brilliant, he doesn't have to say a word to get the reaction that he wants out of a crowd. He doesn't have to do a single thing. He can go out there and just play it up and do whatever he needs to make the crowd want to do what he wants them to do, and it'll pull off and be perfect. Who knows how this is going to play out in the long run. If he obviously looks to me like he's going to be turning heel, obviously going into the Royal Rumble, possibly being in the Royal Rumble match, will be a favorite going into that matchup. It'll be interesting to see what finally comes out to play with the return of Chris Jericho.
Whenever these It Begins promos first started, there was so much speculation, and people dissected these promos to like the T of, if you watch and pause it at a minute 50, you could see it says Batista, or it says Undertaker, it says anybody's name. They could pretty much...
It says Y2J in the branches.
They could just pretty much dissect it to anything, and that is what the crazy part about these promos is, and how nobody really knew. Everyone had speculation. Everyone didn't know who it was going to be. That was what these promos did, and what it did was cause viewers to watch each week, and then they saw little things on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook of, oh, it begins new promo on Monday night this week. Oh, let's watch it to see what it is, and then like you think it would be like something big, and no, it would just be literally just little things here on Raw, and that is what got viewers, and then viewers got people talking, and talking got ratings.
Yeah.
But with these promos and how it comes back to being Jericho, this is like the craziness Jericho can think of having a little kid sitting in a classroom. You wouldn't think that's Chris Jericho. A lot of people are like, oh, Stephanie and Shane.
Yeah.
My bad. Or Undertaker, and just crazy stuff like that. And then when he comes back and he comes out, doesn't say a word, and then afterwards, if you haven't seen the video, afterward interview on WWE.com, they asked him if he's going to the Rumble. He literally stopped, turned on his jacket, and just kept walking. That is Chris Jericho just to a T. And that is one thing that you can learn about in his DVD. If you watch Chris Jericho's DVD, just watch how just the little things he does that just shows, I don't care what people think. I'm going to be who I am, and that is how I roll. And just the whole Chris Jericho just being Chris Jericho, and I'm just going to sit here and not say a word and just let these fucking fans just eat out of the palm of my hand.
Exactly, which is genius. And really, like he's talking about those videos, I thought those videos were absolutely brilliant. Well put together videos that really kind of made you think. As he said, a lot of people could look within them, but really interesting promos and the videos that they show. And I really think this is the best use of social media so far in WWE. They're so all about the Twitter and the Facebook and YouTube and all this kind of crap. This is the most interesting use of the social media in WWE so far that I have seen. Putting the little thing at the bottom of the screen saying, you know, blah, blah, it begins on YouTube or whatever like that, and flashing up, and you could go straight to YouTube and watch the video and then start talking about it. Everybody put the comments, and everybody's, you know, saying what all is going to go on and what's going to happen and end up whoing it be. And it was just genius. And really just how this is playing out right now can just end so absolutely brilliantly. I just think it's so awesome how they could have what Chris Jericho was when he left, you know, being that diabolical, that slow-talking, just deliberate heel that he was, you know, coming out in suits and all this and kind of stuff like that, and saying how all of the faces at the time, you know, in the company, like John Cena or whatever, were just out there pandering to the crowd, and just everybody was hypocrites because they just like him because, you know, they act like they like him, and now Chris Jericho's doing the exact same thing that he was making fun of, and they could just flip it just like in 2 seconds if they want to have Chris Jericho do that, and I think that's how they should pull it off. But right now, it's looking absolutely brilliant the way that Chris Jericho's return's coming. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, but, you know, it's something just Chris Jericho loves to mess with all of us, all the fans, and let it get us talking, because Chris Jericho realizes that that's what it caused a stir, and that's what you want to do. You know, just like what a CM Punk did this year. It caused a stir and made everybody talking, everybody, you know, wanting to circle around what's going on in WWE right now, and that's exactly what he's doing. But it'll be interesting to see what Chris Jericho's return and actions continue to be going on in WWE in the future. Quickly before we get out of here, I just want a couple quick notes here. Chris Hero re-signing with Ring of Honor. Love to see that. Thank God Chris Hero is back in a company that, you know, he could be his full potential in. Obviously, the things going on in WWE, possibly not going through physical, whatever you want to say, not being able to sign with WWE, but re-signing with Ring of Honor. Good to see Chris Hero on a regular scheduled basis. As we've said before, Chris Hero, one of the best wrestlers in the world today. If you guys have not seen Chris Hero before, not, you know, independent guys, wrestlers, wrestling fans out there, please go check out Chris Hero because he's absolutely amazing, as well as Ring of Honor. And also, the two first inductees into the WWE Hall of Fame, being Edge and the Four Horsemen. So amazing to see the Rated R Superstar Edge being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Amazing to me. Absolutely one of my favorites of all time. As you guys know, seeing him inducted right now in 2011 after he just retired this past year, just seems like he was there winning world titles and, you know, main eventing WrestleMania is like just a week ago, it seems like. But awesome to see that, and the Four Horsemen. Be interesting to see. I know there's been a lot of talk of Ric Flair's going to be there, obviously being with TNA. Be interesting to see how all that pans out. But two absolutely amazing inductees into the Hall of Fame. Wish I could be there. Wish we could be there to see that live, because it'd be some great stuff. This will now wrap up our IWR Topix show. For my partner Quad, I am your host, J-Man. Thank you for watching another edition of the Instant Wrestling Report. Your source for professional wrestling news, information, opinions, instantly.